Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Ready, Erin? Today is Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. It is now 5:38 p.m. May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. King?
Here.
Ms. Lee?
Here.
Mrs. Rhine?
Here.
All right. May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For those kids in the back, take you back to elementary school. All right, we can go right into 2.1 liaison reports. Do we have a legislative report?
Yes, it's very long, and I'm not going to read all of it. Some of it I didn't even have time to do much research into it, but there are a couple of things that I think are worth mentioning. One, the General Assembly sent House Bill 68, sponsored by Gary, Republican, to Governor DeWine. The bill would prohibit certain procedures to alter a minor child's sex and would designate this act as the Ohio Saving Adolescents from Experimentation Act. The bill also includes House Bill 6, which would enact the Save Women's Sports Act, I love these names, to require schools, state institutions of higher education, and private colleges to designate separate single-sex teams and sports for each sex. So we have them saving everybody. And then the Senate has unanimously passed Senate Bill 162, sponsored by Senator Andrew Brenner, which would require public schools to provide certain academic intervention services to each student who demonstrates a limited level in math and or English language arts. And this is in response to the loss that we have seen across the board for students from COVID. So that's a really good thing. And there's something else which I haven't had a chance to really look into. State Bill 168, which has many different provisions, but one eliminates seniority as a preference when making reductions in non-teaching school staff positions. So I wanted to do a little more research into that.
You said that's Senate Bill what?
That is Senate Bill
165, I think.
168.
68, okay.
Yeah.
I have to look into that one too.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard
You
of it.
asked me to send you something, I can't remember what it was.
It's okay.
I have to write notes. So that's all for now.
Thank you, Ms. Falkenberg. Do we have a student achievement liaison report?
Yes, I have a brief report. I definitely wanted to give a shout out to last month. We went to the OSBA conference down in Columbus, and it was lovely. A lot of very fascinating sessions about what other school districts in the state are doing regarding attendance, some professional development for the board members themselves, board governance, and I found it really helpful. It was the first one I attended, so I was very excited about that. And then second, which is last, just wanted to announce that the Government Merit Scholarship launched earlier this month, and it provides $5,000 a year in financial assistance to high school seniors who are in the top 5% of their graduating class. So the school district would submit the top 5% of the graduating class into a database, and then those students will become eligible for that financial assistance.
I am happy to report.
Very helpful.
We had, I received that pretty recently, and Ms. Bastock helped me with that, so we have checked that off, and we'll.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Look
at you.
I love that. Well, that concludes my report. I love it.
On another issue, I forgot to mention this. My granddaughter was actually at the state board, and I missed her.
Oh, no.
But she and I think 4 other of her classmates from mentor in the second grade did provision of, what's it called? Book walks, story walks, which I didn't really know. So I don't know if any of you got to see her.
Oh, no, what I wish I would have known, because that's Kristen's baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, sorry.
That's okay, we wish we would have
We
known.
wish we would have known, because we would have definitely gone and said,
Yes.
Definitely student achievement.
it is student achievement. Yes, one of yours. Her mom graduated. and her mom
Sometimes you could find those,
It's relatable.
I was gonna say, sometimes you could find those replayed on the government channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping
So you may be
Alright.
able to.
Well, that does conclude my report.
Well, thank you both very much for that.
If it's okay, I know it's December 19th, so I'm going to forego my report and leave my comments if the board's okay a little bit later in the board meeting.
Okay. Item 3.1, the minutes.
Public comment?
Public comment.
Do we have any?
None.
Thank you. No, I mean, you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. See, I thought we just canned the whole tube. Item 3.1 minutes. The regular meeting, what does that say? Hold on. The minutes of the regular meeting of October 17th, 2023 will be approved as recorded or corrected. The reading of these minutes will be waived. May we get a motion to approve item 3.1?
So moved. Second. I'll take the second.
All right, Mrs. Rhine and Mrs. King. Do we have any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Ryan?
Aye.
Mrs. King?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
it. Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Item 4, Treasurer's Report.
Recommend for approval, item 4.1, the financial reports for month-end November 2023. Item 4.2, the bank reconciliation for month-end November 2023. Item 4.3, the investment earnings for month-end November 2023. Item 4.4, the donations, got a few on there. And then item 4.5, the approval of the then and now purchase orders. And then item 4.6, recommend for approval item 4.1 through 4.5.
Wait, may we get a motion to approve items 4.1 through 4.5?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Falkenberg, Ms. Lee, any questions or comments?
Just again, we say this every time, but how thrilling it is to see the people and groups that have donated to our students. It's very encouraging.
Absolutely.
I should have said this in question or comment, but I'm sorry. So where does that memorial fund,
Sure, I can,
is there a,
well, we were graciously accepted the donation, and Ms. Thompson in her office would be working through some current programs we're already working with. Ms. Thompson, anything additional?
no, so you just kind of incorporate them in some of the current, okay. That's all.
Did you guys take a vote? I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay.
May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan?
Aye.
All right.
Item 5.
All right, under certified staff, recommending to the Board of Education to approve the following personnel items for certified staff. We'll have several appointments. You can see mostly our academic tutors that we pay out of our federal funds, Title I. We also, Sue Cicero is going to do some work for us coming back. School counselings are sometime in need, and it's a unique position that you have to sub out sometimes, and what better person than somebody that's been a part of our team for a long time. So we're happy to welcome her back. Itinerant services for some of our students, and then again, we have tutors, DLT, and you're going to see some paid leave and unpaid leave of absence.
May we get a motion to approve item 5.1?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I also saw Barbara Coopman's back on the list.
Yes,
That's nice, too.
absolutely.
I will say that actually, I think, speaks volumes, because majority of these academic tutors continue to come back year after year. So I know that has to help with instruction as well, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Rhine?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. King?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Item 6.1.
Under 6.1, we have a classified items, recommending to the Board of Education to approve the following classified personnel items. Again, same thing, we have appointments, some changes in assignments, resignations, retirement. Just a little shout out for Sandy Haffey, who will be retiring March 1st from the Treasurer's Office, who works with, as our benefits coordinator. And then again, some resignations and our paid and unpaid leave of absence, and looks like we welcome another student AV worker as well.
May we get a motion to approve item 6.1?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Lee, who was that second?
Oh, me.
Ms. Falkenberg? Any questions or comments?
I just had a question. Do we have, when people resign, is there a process for where they, indicate why they're resigning, if they're moving to another job, or?
Sure. I mean, you probably see on this agenda, sometimes we're appointing them, next thing you know, they've done a resignation. Yeah, we do have a process. They do put in in writing a resignation, not necessarily always give the reason. In fact, most cases, they don't give a reason for it. But as part of the process too, Mr. Miller does, if he can, an exit interview with them to ask for any reason behind maybe leaving. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, we do the exit surveys to most employees, not all, most, but a lot of times, especially in the classified posts, we'll know ahead of time why they're leaving, but sometimes they don't either. And, it's kind of up to them if they want to
Share
let us
that.
know what the reasons are. Some are very clear about it, some like to just leave it as it is.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Rhine?
Aye. Item 7.1.
This is an exciting MOU. For 7.1, this is a memorandum of understanding to extend a coaching position for our wrestling program for our females. In the collective bargaining agreement, it just refers to, you have all the coaches, but it just goes to show how far we've come. And a shout out to Coach Richard Hall, who's really helped with not only rebuilding our boys program, but also our girls, building our girls program. So this memorandum of understanding will help us to recognize that position, wrestling coach position. Oh, I forgot here. And then, again, also recommending supplemental contracts. As you can see, some clubs and some coaching positions. And under this part, this is where we have our unpaid volunteers. Yep. Yeah, I think so. Oh,
You grouped them together?
did I group them again? No, I did
No,
not.
they're
I
separate,
made a
but
mistake.
I think it
7.1.
just-
Yeah, we probably need to
taken
do
out.
7.1 first. Yeah,
You
I
wanna-
apologize.
You want to break them up?
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, we have to.
recommending the
Yeah, okay.
supplemental contract for the wrestling coach position, 7.1.
Yeah,
May we get a motion to approve item 7.1?
so moved.
Second. Steph, you can have it.
Any questions or comments?
Thank you. Maybe we can look at a new wrestling room. Hint, hint, Mr. Williamson.
They have a nice room there.
No, they don't. Compared to other, no, honest, seriously, truthfully and honestly, compared to other wrestling room and wrestling facilities, we actually do not have, ours is not that great.
It looked pretty on the picture.
On what picture? Because it really is not, and I want to be honest.
I think if we get more, we get more people, it could be bigger. That's correct. So,
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a new wrestling room? I'm sorry, hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Mrs. Rhine?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. King?
Aye.
All right, let's dial back here. 7.2, recommending to Board of Education the following supplemental activity contracts along with approval of our unpaid volunteers.
May we get a motion to approve item 7.2?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Whoever.
I will take this one.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Okay, business 8.0, all right. Under 8.1, recommending to the Board of Education approval of the John Carroll use for the pool for our swim team, practice for 23-24. 8.2, approval for the bus purchase. And let's see, 8.3, approval of the consulting services for James Fruits, who's been doing a great job with in our transition for AV consulting, and so we've appreciated that.
Hold on one second, it's broken down again.
Is it?
Isn't it?
No,
These should be together here. Wait a
No,
minute.
these are all
just
together.
on the previous one.
That's not true, Josh.
Cassandra.
Shush.
Sandra's getting all confused.
Mine's at the bottom.
Proceed.
No problem.
No, keep going.
So under 8.4, recommending to Board of Education the following business items, 8.1 through 8.3.
May we get a motion to approve items 8.1 through 8.3?
Second.
No.
I just want people to know how much we really pay attention to these
Oh, I
when
do.
we get them, okay? So I was sitting here and I was reading this stuff, and I was like, I have been going to John Carroll, and I have not seen our kids swim, right? I'm like, I haven't seen them. Yeah, I've been at Notre Dame, not John Carroll.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say,
confusing.
thank goodness they've got John Carroll there
Yes.
too. So I've been in the Notre Dame school.
John Carroll's doing a lot of,
They're doing well.
they're doing a lot of team building. They just opened their football field to a parochial school.
Oh.
They just did it this week, I
I
think.
didn't see that. No.
It's just nice that the swim team has a home, because they've been,
Yeah.
They've been
all
shifted
over the
so many
place.
places,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so many places. And it's
Probably helps for
close,
payment.
too,
Yeah.
which is good.
yeah. Yes, thank you, Mr. Wensler.
Thank you, Mr. Whistler. I'm a fan.
May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Mrs. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
Okay, 9.0, academics, technology, and innovation. Let's move through these. We have quite a bit. Recommending under 9.1 approval. You're going to see a lot of, with their fiscal agent for a lot of the non-publics. So 9.1 for tutoring service for the Community of Saints. 9.2, this will be, let's see, non-publics using Title I funds. You can see Corpus Christi, St. Agatha's, Cleveland Montessori, Saints Robert and William School. 9.3, recommending the renewal of the Rise Up for financial literacy courses at Brush High School. 9.4, it is that, well, not that time again, but the Memorial is going to go down for their annual trip, so it's approval for overnight and extended trip. 9.5, nice to see this again. We will approval for the trip to Costa Rica in March. 9.6, positive coaching allowance contract. Again, this is to provide training and education to our coaches to help elevate a positive and character-building experience for our student athletes. And then 9.7 is approval of academics, technology, and innovation items 9.1 through 9.6.
May we get a motion to approve items 9.1 through 9.6?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Falkenberg, Mrs. Rhine. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I have two comments. One, I'm the only one that was not asked to go to Costa Rica.
Greg's going to Costa Rica, and I don't get to go either.
I'm very upset about that.
They're not your friends, Kathryn.
No. But the other, the Positive Coaching Alliance, I was so happy to see that, and I feel really positive about that. I just feel like it's, that's gotta be good for our coaches and our student athletes.
Yep.
Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Rhine,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Mrs. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
I'm juggling a lot here, though. Hard copy this here, make sure I'm on the right spot, but you'll all keep me honest. Under 10.0, Student Services and Strategic Partnership. Under 10.1, at no cost to the different district. This is a new service agreement with Serenity Health and Wellness, and I believe we have a copy. We put a copy of that in front of each one of the board members, so you can take a look at that as we welcome our partnership with this new group. And then 10.2 is approval of Student Services and Strategic Partnership.
May we get a motion to approve item 10.1?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg, any questions or comments?
Did they approach us, Ms. Thompson?
Yes, so the partnership came as a result of another partner that we have been working with, and so it's all about making those connections, and in addition to providing the after-school program, they have clinical services, and so it's a great thing. They're providing even support to meet those non-academic barriers to learning, some of those resources and things that families need. So once they're connected, then they're providing a variety of wraparound services and support.
That's really good.
Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Mrs. King,
Aye.
Mrs. Ryan.
Aye.
It's hard to believe, but there are no items. I thought they got deleted, but I'm told there's no items.
Okay.
Don't worry, she'll hit us up next month. And that concludes my items.
Item 12, any Board of Education information you want to release? Organizational meeting is
She not
the
even going
person who's not going to be here, goodness, is 2024, January 9th, so we will be here. You'll be here to watch. We don't have any council meetings. They were done. Who had council meetings
I
this
did.
month? You did? Did they all say hi, bye?
Yes. They're very gracious.
Very gracious.
Yes.
Okay.
And I shared the strategic plan and then highlighted some things. And then also shared that you were doing in January event. So
The
that
state of schools.
I was going to
Yeah,
say that.
state
Did
of
you want to
schools.
release that? Or
Actually, we have the online newsletter that's going out tomorrow from my office that includes that information, so we'll have that January, I can tell you, it's it right here, January 31st at 6 o'clock, and we'll send that out to families and communities and staff tomorrow with a reminder in January as well.
Your administrative assistant, when I tell you she's good, so I kept looking for the information last week. And I'm like, I know it's in my email, but I'm like, I need like a flyer because someone on Facebook was like asking some questions. And I'm like, Lisa, can you send me this information? She sends me the date and time. And I'm like, well, where is it? Like to see if because she normally is on it and will send whatever. But she's like, I'm like, oh, I can read it between the lines. It's not time for me to say I can do all of this stuff yet. So tell her I said.
It'll be out tomorrow.
all right, any new and unfinished business? 12.3, Board Policy for First Reading. Superintendent presents the following policies for first read and preliminary review. Southwick Lyndhurst Board of Education will be asked to vote and adopt these policies at the board meeting being held January 9th, 2024. Policies that are for revision, 5113, 5320, 5330. We've got a replacement on 533005. We've got a new on 6240. Revisions on 8330, 9160, and 9211. They are all attached in your board docs if you need to open them up and check them for anything.
And if I can make a comment, there was a lot of work on these policies. I'm looking at Mrs. Bussey and Ms. Thompson, and I mean, there were some new policies that came out, especially, and some different procedures through legislation that school districts have to follow. So we spent a lot of time and even consulted with our legal counsel on a few of them, just, use of medications and procurement and, in emergency situations. You could see that up there. So it was, we spent a lot of time together. And so just letting you know, sometimes some policy revisions are easy and other ones are more difficult. And these were a little bit more difficult. So we handled it with care.
Perfect. Thank you for all your work. Yes. Item 12.4, policy adoption. Following policies were presented for first read and preliminary review at the board meeting held October 17th, 2023. All of them are revised: 2623.02, 3120.08, 4120.08, 6700, 7440, 8120, 8210, 8600, 8650, and 9270, all revised. Attached to board docs as well for you to review if you desire. May we get a motion to approve items 12.3 and 12.4?
Just one.
Just
Read
12.4?
first reading, yep.
May we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Rhine and Ms. Falkenberg? Any questions or comments? How did you pan out? Pretty good?
Yeah, they were just minor little things.
I can always rely on you.
We will let Nola know that we have a former English teacher or an English teacher that is correcting their policy.
It's just editing, that's all. It's just editing.
Hearing no further questions or comments because Ms. Falkenberg gave them all. May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Mrs. Rhine,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Mrs. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
And then, last but not least, item 12.5, resolution.
So if we could, Madam President, may I read a resolution, or would you like to read the
Nope.
resolution?
You can read it.
Okay, so I think if Mrs. Ryan, if you would come up here.
What? I gotta stand up.
Wow.
You guys taking pictures? Come on up.
So, Mr. Phil? No, before I read the resolution, I don't get nervous very often or find myself getting emotional later in life here, but I've had the privilege for 12 years, and it seemed like yesterday that I was being interviewed by the Board of Education, and I think at the time, Stefanie, Rhine, and Cassandra, I couldn't tell which one was president. They traded times back and forth. But, I do recall in that first interview, it wasn't even the final interview, and I could feel the passion that this woman, Stefanie Rhine, had for her children, her family, but even greater, the greater family was the students here in the community. And I after that first night, I went home, and you just never know. And I said to my husband, I want to be a part of this school community. And she was a big part of that, and just her passion, and it didn't feel like an interview anymore. And in that commitment, I've been a superintendent for 15 years, and I think Mrs. Rhine is one of the best I've ever seen that could balance being a parent. I don't know if I could do it, because I'd be like, I can't take my parent hat off, and being a board member, being a community member. And wherever you go, and you mentioned the name Stefanie Rhine, she's just so well respected by all kind of stakeholders, from our civic leaders to parents to faith-based partners, community partners. And how could you not want to be a part of that? I want to personally thank Stefanie and your family, because you've all had to sacrifice a lot to give up your mom and where's Dan? And your wife, and you do, because it really, tonight you just might see us, we're here for an hour. Do you know how much time it takes to get to this point in reading everything? And so, but let's go one further. Some people do one term. This is 16 years. And I don't know, this here, yeah, absolutely. 16 years. I don't know. I mean, that's what, 4 terms, okay? And I don't know. I think Greg was not in preschool when you started. So, I want to have a resolution. It's by no means captures what she's meant to me, this school community, and to my team here. We all know how they feel, and I'm speaking on their behalf. So please allow me, and I don't know if the font's big enough, so I'm going to read from here. The 12 years have been not kind on my eyes. Resolution commemorating the service of Stefanie Rhine. The South Yucca Lyndhurst Schools would like to formally commemorate the service of departing board members, Mrs. Stefanie Rhine, whose term concludes on December 31st, 2023, by extending our sincerest gratitude to her family, to her and her family for a season of life demonstrating an uncanny dedication to the faithful service of our district. And whereas Mrs. Rhine will be finishing more than 16 years of public service on the Board of Education, during that time has fulfilled the positions of president, vice president, I could probably go back and forth, president, vice president, president, vice president, and member, loyally discharging her duties to enact sound policy for the South Yucca Lyndhurst Schools, review and approve the financial operations of the district, and help to establish the vision and strategic direction. And whereas in moving to the school community in 2000 with her husband Daniel, immediately became involved with various district and civic matters and opportunities, including the attendance at City of South Euclid and City of Lyndhurst council meetings, SCL Board of Education meetings, and serving as chairperson for the Community Advocacy Committee. And whereas Mrs. Rhine served as the chairperson for the successful 2005 levy campaign committee for the South Yucca Lyndhurst Schools, stepping forward to lead this effort after 3 previous failures at the ballot box, which resulted in the closing of schools and the riffing of personnel, by orchestrating the literature drop, volunteer organizations, being involved in the famous staff lining of Mayfield Road, to support and measure, and working with both community mayors to build support at this time. Whereas, it's hard to believe, look at all this. We talk about volunteering. In addition to these efforts and her service on the Board of Education, Mrs. Rhine has served, are you ready? In a variety of leadership capacities for the Parent-Teacher Association throughout the district, including as president of Ridgeberry, Sunview, Greenview, Memorial, and Brush High School's PTA, along with service on the PTA Council. And I could witness most of those.
Got it done.
Whereas Mrs. Rhine will miss most the service to the students and their successes in the classroom, valuing the children of the South Yucca Lyndhurst Schools so greatly and proudly, watching their accomplishment at young ages, their progress on the state report card on a yearly basis, and the opportunity to participate in commencement on an annual basis. And this part touched me. I didn't write this part, it was her sentiments. Whereas Mrs. Rhine believes the amazing journey during her tenure clearly demonstrates that the district is in a much better place today compared to when she began as a member of the board, and credits the hiring of Superintendent Dr. Linda and Reid. Oh, we did. For her unwavering commitment and leadership of the district, handshaking, the district, along with a thoughtful, integrated, and regularly updated strategic plan as the backbone of this success. And that's something we both believed in. And we did 3 strategic plans together. Therefore, it will be resolved that the Board of Education, the administration, and the entire South Yucca Lyndhurst City Schools salutes Mrs. Stefanie Rhine for her faithful dedication and public service to our school family. Thanks her for enriching the lives of the students and staff of this district for the past 16 years, wishes her well in her future endeavors. And just give us a round of applause.
Let me hold them. Yes, put your glasses on your head.
I know you celebrate the holidays. For your tree. Thank you. A world of thanks. And it has our logo. It has our logo on it.
I said I was underdressed today, but this is my absolute favorite fresh t-shirt that Miss Walden made me.
And that's the resolution for you. So if we, it's amazing, 2007, 2023. Mr. Phil, the music will start like in 10 seconds, but if you can get it moving and sit back and enjoy.
Are you serious?
Travel down a road back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up
so
and
many
take
things.
a bow? And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, well, you would see the biggest gift would be for me. There's a card attached will say thank you for being a friend. 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 If it's a car you lack, I'd surely buy you a Cadillac. Whatever you need, I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? With walking canes and hair array, have no fear, even though it's hard to hear. I will stand you close and say thank you for being a friend. I wanna 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 thank you. Let me tell you about a friend. I wanna thank you for being a friend. I wanna thank you for being a friend. I wanna thank you for being a friend. And come away into the light. Milky
Sit down, take your time.
Yeah, really, no, you have to.
Thank you all. That's more than I expected. I remember starting this journey way back when. And Dan never once saying, "What the hell are you doing?" I mean, Greg, where's Greg? Greg, I literally was holding him in my arms. He was like 3 when I got sworn in that first time. And now look at him, I don't think he'd let me hold him anymore like that. But I have just been blessed to have gotten this opportunity and you know,
Never thought I would be here still 16 years later. I'm glad that I had the opportunity. I worked with so many amazing people who have sat in these seats next to me and made all the difference. You guys are amazing. I mean, we are so lucky. And Dr. Reid, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I will never forget that day that you walked in, because I think I've shared this story before, but you know, we worked with a well-known company to find a superintendent, and from day one, they're like, oh, we have somebody for you. And then he came back and he said, well, we don't have somebody for you because they want to go somewhere else. So, okay. But then we met you, and it didn't matter. Because we were like, no, we found our person. And then he came back and he's like, oh, well, that guy wants to come back. He changed his mind, and we were like, nope. And we were like, we found our person. We don't need anyone else. We don't need to even talk to him. And they were like, looked at us like, are you sure? Cassandra and I were like, absolutely. We don't need to talk to anybody else. We found our person, and we did. And regardless, I mean, people forget. It's so, you know, I'm a hoarder of things. My family will tell you at times. And I was looking through emails from years ago, and I was just like glancing through things that had come through, and you're like, oh. I'm like, man, we don't have to think about that. I hadn't had an email like that in so many years. That's so nice. And, you know, I haven't had an email about that in so many years. That's so nice. And, you know, when people say, oh, you know, brush is so unsafe, and I'm like, my gosh. I mean, that's such a relative term. Because, Mr. Williamson, this is for you. If I could change one thing, I would change how we brought you into this building, because we asked you to be the bad guy. You know, there's a good cop, bad cop. Mr. Karl Williamson took on that bad cop role because we needed it at the time. And people may not realize that we did, but we did. That was a time when things were not good around here, and self-included. I remember Dan and I sitting at a football game, and the stands clearing, not out of celebration. And we're looking at him, and Jack was a 7th grade. I'm like, how are we really going to send Jack to brush? Is this what it's going to be? But then you came along, and you made a lot of changes, and you took a lot of crap. And people don't remember what it was like, but I do. And so I just want to thank you, and I'm sorry that, you know, we weren't a little bit more supportive in that beginning part. Because most people probably would have been like, see you later. But you didn't. You stuck it out. And you have made this place a better place. So thank you. And all of you. I mean, everyone at this table has brought so much to this district and done so much. And are we perfect? No. No one's perfect. Do we still have things to fix? Absolutely. But we really finally have the right people in place. We really do. And I'm sad for those who don't think that's the case, because nothing gets done with division and anger, only with, you know, trying to talk. And if there's one thing I learned from a lot of the people I sat at these seats with, you know, I didn't always agree with it. You know, we didn't always agree. But most of the time, we're still able to work together. And so I just, you know, thank you for this. Thank you to my family. I love you all, because you put up with a lot as well. But it's been a great 16 years, so thank you.
I know we have to conclude the meeting, but I would love to, before we take the pictures down, if we could take a big group picture with everybody who would like to, be great. So I'll let you do your thing.
So cute. I love it.
Nobody's coming. They're scared.
Yeah, we can.
We're going to
Just close it
conclude, and
for-
then we'll close it
Okay.
down.
Do we have any more public comment?
We do not.
Thank you. There's no need for executive session. May we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Say aye again. Aye. 6:23.
I would like to also invite the family. Kudos to Melissa Thompson. I'd like to take credit for that beautiful table, but everyone would know I'd be lying. Because then it's not my touch, but it's hers. But thank you for helping out, and this was a team effort. So please join us for some, after a picture, some beverages. And Greg, you're still here? I do remember at the levy campaign in 2012, we were getting ready to pass out literature, and you had like 5 donuts. And I think they had to take you home with a bellyache. So you're welcome to have more tonight.
He was so little. He was such a little
Oh, that
kid.
is funny.
I have, kids I came with every.
I want you
Want
to
another
eat too,
picture of
but
my feet before?
Yes.
the last one, Greg. And